Okay, in this video I want to show you what this course looks like after you sign up. So first off, after registering, you're going to be taken to the course table of contents, which you can see here. Let me just move it down a little bit. Specifically, you can see here that there are a total of 5 different modules, and you can access a members area as well. You'll see that noted at the very top here. Why don't we start by looking at module 1. So let's go ahead here and expand that. So as you can see, this module, the first module, focuses on the science of mixed martial arts. And in session 1, you're going to learn all about how your body powers the repeated high-intensity efforts that really characterize MMA. And this information is pretty important. It sets you up for session 2, which teaches you how to build unstoppable endurance. And in that session, you're going to learn about all sorts of things that are really important to designing training programs, like high versus low intensity training, how to train the different energy systems that you've learned about in that first session. I've included a lot of specific endurance training workouts for you here in this session. And again, all of this is really important when I take you through our step-by-step process for building your own individualized training plan later on. Now, in session 3, you're going to learn about basic muscle structure and function. You're going to learn about muscle fibers and factors that influence the development of strength and power. You're going to learn adaptations to strength and power training as well. And of course, then you're going to apply this information later on in session 4 when I teach you about the basic training principles for resistance training. I'm going to teach you what resistance exercises to use. I'm going to teach you how to order your exercises. I'm going to teach you how often you should be training. I'm going to talk about how much weight and how many reps you should be doing to bring about specific adaptations and outcomes like muscular power, muscular hypertrophy, muscular strength. We're going to talk about how many sets to use. We're going to talk about how much rest that you should be taking between those sets. And again, all of this information, it's really important, and it's going to come in handy later on when we design your individualized training program together. Now, in session 5, you're going to learn about overtraining. And this overtraining is rampant in mixed martial arts. It's probably the greatest opponent that you'll ever face because it can really take you out of the whole fight entirely before you even get to your fight. Now, specifically, you're going to learn how your body responds to training. And we're going to talk about overtraining in particular, their signs and symptoms, and more importantly, how to reduce your risk for overtraining. In session 6, you're going to learn about warm-ups and cool-downs, and I'm going to show you how to maximize your flexibility with a minimal amount of stretching. Session 7 teaches you how to organize your training days and your training weeks and your training months across a whole fight plan. And finally, in session 8, you're going to learn how to implement the MMA Training Bible's testing battery, which specifically teaches you how to implement tests to monitor your psychological skills and mood development, to monitor body size and composition. All of these things change over the course of a fight plan. We need to be there to monitor them. We're going to teach you protocols for assessing flexibility and muscular power and muscular strength and endurance, and also anaerobic and aerobic endurance. We're also going to talk about a sport-specific performance assessment. And all of these tests, as I said, are absolutely critical for monitoring your adaptation to training. Make sure you're not undertraining or overtraining. You have to know your performance in a whole range of areas that are important to MMA, and that's what we learn about in that session. So why don't we have a look at what one of these lesson pages actually looks like, and let's start with session number 1. Okay, so first off, you can see at the very top, you have the video lecture. All you need to do is you just click, play it, and you can see there it is. I'm just going to skip through it. So that gives you an idea of what the video lecture is all about. Below that, you can see that we have a progress bar. Shows you where you're at in the course. And then if we move down below that, there's a description of the session. There's also another table of contents right here. All you need to do is just click on whichever module you're interested in, and you can be taken right to that particular module and the lessons within it if you want to jump around more quickly. And then here we have the download center. There are lots of important documents in here that I'll introduce you to as we go through the Science of MMA course. You're going to see very important documents on developing explosive strength and power. We're going to talk about specific lifting techniques. Those are listed here. We're going to talk about stretching techniques. Again, those are listed in these documents. And here we also have the performance testing protocols and the data collection sheets for session 8, as I mentioned before. Now below the download center, you're going to find a quiz. Now this is what's called a blocking quiz, which means that before you can move on to the next lesson, you need to pass it. And specifically, you need to answer every question correctly, but don't worry, you're going to get a few attempts. So why don't we go through an attempt here so you can see what it actually looks like. So let's scroll down. This quiz, it's on the lesson that you just have taken. So in this case, it's the Metabolic Demands of Mixed Martial Arts. A little description of the quiz here, and let's go ahead and click it. And after you've completed the quiz and you've scored 100%, then you can move forward to the next lesson and you can mark this lesson complete. So if you go down to the bottom, and as you can see, you've moved on to lesson 2. And let me just quickly scroll through this page. And what you're going to notice here is that all of these lessons in this first module, in the Science of MMA module, they're all structured the same way. They have the video lecture at the top, they have all of the documents that you need right here in the download center, and then you have your quiz that you need to complete and get everything correct in order to advance through the course. So now you have access to modules 2, 3, 4, and 5, and which one you choose, it really depends upon when you plan on fighting next. And this is really the beauty of this course. We have step-by-step guides to help you build an individualized training program in 3 months or 4 months or 6 months or even 12 months. And so maybe this time you're fighting in 6 months, so what you do is you don't need to watch all the modules, you just jump in this case to module 4, the 6-month plan. And maybe after that you want to take a fight on shorter notice, maybe 4 months, so then you skip to module 3. Or maybe you're a trainer or a coach and you have one fighter competing in 4 months and you have another one fighting in 3 months. Then all you need to do is just watch the relevant module and you'll be taken through a step-by-step process for building a training program that piques your fighter at the right time. I designed this course as a resource that you keep on coming back to, and for that reason I hope that you find it useful and you keep on coming back to it. Okay, so let's go through an example so you know exactly what you're going to be getting. And why don't we choose a common period of fighting, module 3, that's 4 months. So that covers building an individualized training program in 4 months. Now let's go ahead and open this module here. So the first thing that you'll notice is there's a total of 5 sessions in this module, and all of the other modules is the same. Now, the main goal of session 1 is to introduce you to our blueprint for building peak performance. So in this session, we introduce you to various worksheets and tools that you'll use, and of course our simple 4-step process that you'll go through with me to build your own individualized training program that's going to maximize your fighting fitness. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and have a look at the lesson pages here. We'll just click on session 1. Okay, so again, you can see that we have the video lecture at the very top of the page. We have our progress bar, we have our session description, we have our table of contents. And here you can see that we have the download center, and there's some very important documents here that will come in handy over the next few sessions. We have the fight plan template in PDF and Excel, and you can use either one of those to build your program. I use Excel because it's a better online teaching tool. And the last document here, you can see it's all very important as well. It's called Programming Across the Fight Plan. It contains a lot of very specific resistance and endurance training workouts. So that's really it for the lesson page. And one thing you might notice here is there's no quiz. That's because these modules are more interactive, like a workshop. You'll be pausing the video and you'll be working on your own training program and filling it out as we go along. So what I want to do is I want to give you an example of what you'll do in each of these sessions. So let's go up to the table of contents here, and as I said, we're going to be looking at our 4-month plan, and let's start at the top. So as I said, in session 1 I introduced you to the fight plan template, so let's go ahead and show you what that looks like. And so this is the basic template that we work with at the MMA Training Bible. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail here, but let me just give you a quick overview so you know what we're looking at. So the thing to notice is that we have really 3 different blocks over here. This top block relates to things relating to our fight schedule, so where you're fighting, the date, the calendar month, and the calendar week. And then here we have periodization factors. We have things related to your training cycle. We have the phase that you're working in. We have training volume and intensity, which range from 10% all the way up to 100%. We have areas for training subphases and programming training weeks and even the training days. And then we also program the difficulty of training days as well, which ranges from no training to very low, medium, high, and very high. And then we have the various performance factors that we focus on at the MMA Training Bible. We have testing dates, we have resistance training goals, endurance training goals, but you're also going to have MMA skill development. If you watch our course on goal setting, you can develop mental training goals. There's other things here like nutrition, and you have other factors that you can implement there as well. Now in session 2, I'm going to teach you how to match up your proposed fight date with the fight plan, and you'll schedule critical training phases across your fight plan. So let me just give you an example of what that looks like. So this is what we started with, and this is what we do in the first step. And so what you're going to notice here is, again, we have the same structure on the left. We filled in the calendar dates. We have a date for the local fight in this example, and then we filled in the specific large phases. We have the fight specific phase, the fight camp, the taper, and the transition. You're going to learn all about those. Also not shown here, there's a general preparatory phase, but that doesn't exist in the shorter plans, the 3-month and the 4-month plan, because these plans assume that you have a basic level of fitness. If you're fighting in a longer period of time, then we have a general preparatory phase, but you'll learn all about that in the course. In session 3, I'll show you how to plan and adjust your training volume and training intensity across your whole fight plan. And these are probably the most important factors that we manipulate across your whole fight plan, so let's just go ahead and have a look at what they are. Again, this is what we start with. This is what we went through in the next phase. And this is the most recent step. So what you notice here is we've scheduled training volume shown in blue and training intensity shown in red right across the whole fight plan. And when you don't plan these things in advance, like many MMA fighters, you end up doing too much in each workout and working at a really high intensity, which of course can lead to overtraining. And this is why it's important to plan it out first across your whole fight plan. And that's what you get with us. I will teach you how to do it correctly in this course. So in session 4, I'm going to teach you how to set training difficulty across the training weeks and training months. And so again, this is where we started. This was the first step. Here was step 2. And here's step 3. And so we're drilling down, we're getting more detailed as we go through these steps. And what you notice here is that we've set our training subphases and training weeks and even our training days right across our whole fight plan. And we've set training difficulty. Again, if you don't control in advance how hard you're working out, you'll work out with too much intensity and too much volume too often, and that will lead to overtraining. This is why we teach you to systematically control your training difficulty across the weeks and the months. Take, for example, the first training subphase here. In this example, the fighter starts with a low level of training difficulty in week 1, then builds in week 2 and 3, then takes a recovery week in week 4, and then the whole process starts again in the second training subphase. This level of planning will optimize your adaptation to training, and it will help you avoid overtraining at the same time. And finally, in session 5, you'll learn how to program individual training sessions across your entire fight plan. I'll show you how to select the most appropriate resistance and endurance training workouts for your fight plan, and I'll walk you through an example of a completed training program reviewing in detail each individual resistance and endurance workout. And so again, this is where we started. The first step here, the next step, this is step 3. And then finally we get to the final step, step 4. So the first thing that you should note here is we started by inputting our MMA Training Bible testing dates, and you can see those right here. After that, we set our resistance training goals and our endurance training goals, and those are shown right on the bottom. And then we got really detailed. We started programming our individual workouts. So why don't we just jump in here and we can give you some examples. Now it's important to understand that the workouts I'm going to show you here match up with the resistance and endurance training goals, which of course differ with the phase of the fight plan you're in and the length of the fight plan that you've chosen to work in. But don't worry, I'm going to demystify all this for you. This is just an example to show you how specific we'll get in this course. So here you can see it's an example endurance workout. In this particular workout, the athlete is doing 6 to 7 90-second intervals with 5 minutes off and a 1 minute build up. And in this case, it's a whole body movement like running or a resisted whole body sprint. And so here you can see a resistance training workout. In this case, the load, it's 12 to 15 repetitions. So we know it's a muscle endurance workout. The volume, it's 2 to 3 sets with 30 to 60 seconds rest. And here, workout B is chosen. Again, we give you a whole bunch of different workouts that you can implement. And then the next endurance workout here, it's very much similar to the very first workout, except now it's MMA specific movements. And then now in this case, the resistance workout has shifted to, in this case, it's a power-based workout, 4 to 5 reps, 3 to 5 sets, 3 minutes to 4 minutes of rest in between. And there's a lot that goes into creating this weekly workout, but I just wanted to give you the level of detail so you know that we're showing you how to do everything here. We're not just leaving you with the big principles. We're drilling down very deeply to show you exactly what you need to be doing in your workouts in order to peak your performance for the fight. And so you can see that we have, in this example, individual workouts across the whole fight plan. Everything that you need to know is here. Everything you need to be successful is here. So at the end of this online training course, you'll have an individualized training program and you'll know how to create individual resistance and endurance training sessions across your whole fight plan. So again, this is not a one and done course. I designed it as a resource that you can keep on coming back to. And again, this is just a 4-month example. We have the 3-month example, which I can show you here. And so here's the 3-month example. Here's the 6-month example. And here's the 12-month example. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here for now. I hope this gives you a good idea of what you get when you purchase this course, and I hope you find it useful. Take care.